Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today to this talk that I have prepared for you, and in service to you and your goals, this talk is called Approach to Determining What is Right, and it is based off of one of my many books called A Culture of Excellence: Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And the cover slide is also the cover of the book, The Four Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. We cannot achieve greatness or magnanimity unless and until we master the virtues within ourselves. Reaching greatness or magnanimity is about building virtue within ourselves, our families, communities, and others. We cannot achieve magnanimity until fortitude, self-control, counsel, justice, prudence, understanding, respect for others, temperance, humility, charity, piety, and courage are present first within us. We cannot give to others what we do not possess ourselves. So understanding how to master ourselves and build virtue is the first, ongoing, and last step required for magnanimity. And mastering the virtues is a lifelong and ongoing process throughout our entire lives. When we fall, pick yourself up and start the practice of virtue building again, and do this throughout your entire life. Magnanimity is an ongoing process and a focus we should have throughout our lives. It is also a focus we should have for working with, mentoring, and coaching others to greatness. We can build virtue within ourselves and help others in our sphere of influence to achieve their greatness in their own lives by teaching the virtues and living the virtues in everything we do. I'd like to invite you to live virtuously. Okay, table of contents about Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal: Approach to Determining What is Right, the Financial Crisis of 2007-2008, Goals of Human Flourishing, and Conclusion, Question to Ask Yourself. Now, this particular talk, I have quotes on all of the slides, or most of the slides, by Aristotle. And if you're not familiar with this thing about Aristotle, he is the foundation philosophy for Christianity. So it's important to study everything about Aristotle, as I have once I started getting into my traditional Christianity and found that out, that he is the foundational basis for what Christianity was built on Aristotelian philosophy as well as common law. Okay, so those who know do. Those that understand teach. And that one I specifically chose for you scholars and virtue thought leaders out there and virtue change agents, because you know and you will go out and teach, right? So let's continue. You're going to love Aristotle by the time we're through with these quotes. One of my absolute favorites, but I have a lot of favorites. So let's take a look at this quote. It is our choice of good or evil that determines our character, not our opinion about good or evil. That's a very important quote to reflect on and think about over the next week, or over the next month. You know, someone highlighted here choice and opinion. As you notice throughout my slides, I like to highlight words that are important to me. So it's a choice, right? And we see a lot of people running around in our society and culture today and in our world with a lot of opinions, that may not be based upon logic and facts. A lot of opinions based on emotion. So you, as that virtuous thought leader and scholar, you can help people rise to greater heights in their logic and thinking and perception and their understanding. Okay, so let's continue. Approach to determining what is right. Let's take a look at this quote here again before I go into it. Make excellence your choice and wisdom will follow. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Okay, so rationalizing an approach to determining what is right can be based upon an individual's mindset, perspective, worldview, philosophy, and prior knowledge regarding right and wrong actions. Furthermore, various aspects can play a significant role in what individuals believe is right or wrong. So those two sentences are very important to think about. I have a traditional Christianity cultural background, right? So my worldview, philosophy, mindset, and perspective, as well as my prior knowledge that I have gained through my own studies and research, and then prior knowledge that was given to me and passed down through my generations and my extended clan, and then my direct nuclear family, right? So all of that makes up Dr. P can be very different from other people in our culture, in the United States, and our society, and throughout the world, right? So my understanding of right and wrong actions and behaviors can be very different from other people with a different mindset, perspective, worldview, and philosophy, and prior knowledge. So each one of those words is very important to what we're going to be talking about. So, for example, religion, family beliefs and experiences, culture and education and training, or lack thereof, can affect what individuals know or do not know about right and wrong actions and behaviors. So that's where you, as a traditional Christian, can come in and kind of help people work through some of these issues and challenges that people may have and the lack thereof, understanding that they may have. And you can help them understand a lot of these concepts that I talk about in this talk and my other ones. Individuals who exercise ethical decision-making can do so based upon prior instruction or an innate sense of personal accountability. I know I have a lot more personal accountability today than I do when, say, I was, 15 or 18. An ethical decision-making process involves rational and persuasive justification for making a decision. For example, proper attention to ethical principles, consequences to all stakeholders, alternative perspectives, and facts can affect rational justifications developed via a decision-making process using logic. So Aristotle is very important to study and think about as we talk about logic, because not everyone in our country and in our world make decisions based on logic or facts. A lot of people make decisions based upon emotions or fear. Okay, so let's get to the next slide. When making an ethically sound decision, an initial step involves determining the facts of a situation. And not everybody does that, right? Not everybody takes the time to determine the facts of the situation in front of them. Individuals choosing to properly assess a situation must make an honest effort to understand and evaluate facts from opinions. Furthermore, differences in perception regarding how individuals understand and experience situations can illustrate why disagreements regarding ethics or lack thereof can take place. Leaders should be mindful regarding knowing the facts and deliberately analyzing the circumstances. Having this ability is key to resolving problems early. I like to resolve problems early. I even like to anticipate problems. I'm what is known as a strategic thinker. So I like to look ahead what problems could arise so that I can mitigate or avoid, right? So in addition, having the ability to control one's emotions is an important virtue to master and aids in resolving issues in a more logical and reasoned manner. Individuals can make wrong choices for many reasons, which include but are not limited to self-interest placed above respect for others, desire to achieve an end result at the expense of others, choosing the easiest or less painful path, and various aspects related to fear. So think about, as you look around in our nation today and in our world, how many people do you see making decisions based upon any of those bullet points that I mentioned? A lot of people are making decisions based upon fear, based upon emotion. I know when I was 18, I would choose the easier path that was less painful, right? Now, with all of my practice of virtue building, now I know that choosing what appears to be the harder path or the harder choice to make really ends up being the easiest path, because I saved myself a lot of headache because I took the path that appeared more challenging. I mastered it, and then in the end I ended up winning and getting the best result. So if you look at it from that perspective, teach it in that way to others. If you make the right choices early on, then you'll have an easier life and an easier path versus making the wrong choices early on, or what you think may be the less painful path, and then that creates more difficulty for you later in life that you're going to have to fix, right? So switch it around in your mind when you're talking about this concept to others. All right, let's take a look at this Aristotle quote. I love this one also. Excellence is never an accident. Beautiful, right? It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Very important, right? A lot of people think that destiny just happens, they're like a leaf floating in the wind, and whichever way the direction of the wind goes, that's what happens to them, rather than standing their ground, building themselves up, making hard choices, and then changing the situation of their life. But these can be difficult concepts for people to want to master, right? So each one of those concepts here within this quote are very important. Not everybody makes decisions based upon intelligent execution. Or not everyone has high intentions, right? So again, excellence is never an accident. When I see people that amaze me, it's not hard for me to pick them out in the world, because the proof is in the production of what they put out, right? Their fruits will show you who they are. Okay, so anyways, like I said, all of these concepts you as the educator and the scholar can teach to others in your sphere of influence. Okay, so the next slide we're going to talk about the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. In spite of the regulatory state expansion and intrusion that we have seen in our modern day, we continue to experience widespread unethical practices throughout society. In my view, I believe the financial crisis of 2007-2008 did not happen in a vacuum or randomly. I believe the reason why that crisis situation, as well as many others we have heard about in modern times in many corporations and throughout society, is not surprising. The reason why these types of unethical events occur is because people in modern corporations are led by individuals who place winning, money, status, competition, and materialism in higher prominence than the cardinal virtues and virtue building as an aspirational and cultural pursuit. In fact, American values used to be based upon Christian values, and yet for many years, those values have been usurped and replaced by the desire to achieve money, status, and material wealth at any cost, and regardless of the broader implications to society. Furthermore, Christian values and the cardinal virtues are no longer highly esteemed and valued, nor taught in the schools in a comprehensive and effective manner related to how to live and operate in all facets of life. A deliberate erosion of traditional virtue-based education has been removed from all aspects of American life. Thus, we see many unethical behaviors and actions in daily life, as well as in how corporations conduct business. Profits over people and virtue is the predominant theme in many corporations today. Goals of human flourishing. I love that statement, don't you? Challenges related to ethical failure, dissonance, and misalignment can be mitigated via creating a conceptual framework, providing a specific foundation for understanding and teaching virtuousness. In addition, directing the common good toward goals of human flourishing known as eudaimonia. I hope I said that right. Eudaimonia you might want to do a Google search on that and listen to it. It might be a little bit better than the way I pronounced it. But I love that word. Human flourishing is known as eudaimonia. It might be eudaimonia. Can enhance organizational effectiveness. Don't we all want to work for companies and businesses or have our own companies and businesses? And in a society, in a nation, in a world where human flourishing is first? The common good in business and society can be effectively realized when virtuousness is present in various stakeholders operating in any given context. That's you operating wherever you are. Guiding behaviors can be directed through a sense of virtuousness that can be taught and promulgated by leaders and organizational support. Thus, the notion of the common good and virtuousness can be viewed as a foundation for harmonizing the objectives of the economy, organization, and individual. I want to live in a world like that. So in conclusion, well, you know what? Before I get to my conclusion slide, let's look at this Aristotle quote here. And since I just got a doctorate in public health education, this quote resonates with me. Health is a matter of choice, not a mystery of chance. And that's an important thing to understand because we choose. I know I choose every day for health or for dis-ease. That's what disease stands for, dis-ease. And I do that by, am I exercising? Am I thinking properly? Am I looking at things that will raise my human flourishing, my goals of human flourishing? Am I eating correctly? Am I drinking the clean water? You know, what are the health choices that I'm making every day, spiritually, psychologically, cognitively, physically? And in my engagement with others, what are the choices that I'm making to make my health better rather than, bad habits? And then working on the weaknesses that I have and flipping them around to strengths. How can I change weaknesses into strengths? So that's a beautiful quote as well. Okay, so in conclusion, a question to ask yourself. What are your views regarding teaching the cardinal virtues in schools again? So that's an important question to ask ourselves, right? But you as an individual outside from any institution, you can do that in your engagement and modeling every day with all of your interactions with anyone who's in front of you. So let's take a look at this quote. And of course, I chose it's just for you. All of this is a gift for you today. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. So how are you going to go out into the world and change the world? Okay, that wraps it up. And then citations, I took this from myself, A Culture of Excellence, which you can find that book and many others in Amazon or at any of my websites. I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this talk. It was my honor and my pleasure to serve you today and your goals and what you want to do with your life. Thank you so much. God bless you.